Soft bar open.
Soft bar open.
Come on.
I mean, this is the soft bar open. We've been working on our soft opens. This is an organic soft bar open. Nicely done, sir. Well done.
And you don't even have to go to Jersey for it.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Late Night McGee. What's up, dude?
Feeling good. We just had a hell of a discourse about Oreos with our members. This is a members episode. So we just got to shoot the shit with our friends. You know what it goes? You know, that's just how we want to spend our Thursday night. And I could not be happier than to spend it with you, but mostly them, but also you.
Kind of you, but mostly them. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on our next live recap or our next community meeting on Zoom, make sure you sign up for our membership program. Go to thebros.memberful.com, $5 a month or $50 for the year if you want to save $10. Come, it helps support us, and then we get to interact with you guys, which is our favorite thing about having a podcast is our listeners. So join in on the fun, subscribe. The link is in our bio, or just go to thebros.memberful.com. Now, we're here to discuss Summer House, which is having a very good season. I see you wearing your Loverboy hat. Very nice. Just noticed that. Should
just
I grab
for the
mine?
occasion. Nope.
No, absolutely not. They're not matching hats. Okay, cool. I thought we were there. I guess we're not. That's good to know. That's good to know. I thought that's where we had gotten to in our relationship, matching hats. But hey,
no, you haven't said that you love me yet. So,
do you want to have a baby?
You haven't sucked my toe yet. When you do that, we can go matching hats. Yeah, that's. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the Jesse Solomon steps. What would Jesse Solomon do?
Meet the parents. Then he would suck a toe, and then he wouldn't tell her, and then he would ask to be exclusive to avoid it,
and then say "I love you," and then call her his girlfriend. Yeah, we got it.
That's definitely the line right there. Definitely. But I like this episode a lot. This was this season's just coming on really strong, which I'm glad. It's taking a different turn than I thought it was. Like when I was thinking about what this season would be, I was definitely much more of a like fun party house with like the dudes, you know, like West, Jesse doing their thing. It's taken an interesting turn, but it's a good turn. And I will also say Lexi's growing on me. I really liked how she handled this episode. I'm starting to enjoy her a lot more. And yeah, I'm glad that it's off to a good start. I guess
I'm really glad that it's off to a good start. And usually the makings of a good show is a lot of people talking about the castmates, being upset about the castmates. And the only thing I'll say is this, because there's a lot of people online talking about how Jesse needs to go, Wes needs to go. We got to get them out of here. They're terrible people. I'm sorry to tell you this, but this is how these shows work. We needed exactly this. If not for this, then we would be where we were 3 years ago, where it was boring and everybody was going to Barry's boot camp in the morning. We have actual focal points. You don't know these people. These people are not dating your cousin. They're not dating your sister. They're on a TV show dating people you've never met in your life. They're douchebags, yes. But we need douchebags on shows like this. So just be happy for it. Don't say that they're annoying. Don't say that they're pitiful people. You could say whatever the hell you want, but they're not going anywhere. Because without somebody like Jesse, we really wouldn't have a whole lot to go off of this season. He's been a huge focal point, and trying to figure out if you like him or hate him is kind of part of the process.
I mean, that's really well said. And that's something I think that a lot of comments and, you know, social media discourse gets stuck on. It's like, yeah, they're not always the greatest dudes, but what you want in like a Jesse Solomon or a West is to watch them be dumb dudes. Like that's kind of the shtick, and it's entertaining.
Is Jax Taylor a good dude? No. But was he entertaining as shit? Yes.
He's been on our screens for like over a decade because we keep watching him. He's a gigantic piece of shit. I have no remorse for the guy. I don't care if he was never on our TV again because of how bad of a person he is. However, am I going to watch The Valley? Yep. Am I going to be entertained whether I like him or not by Jax at some point? Yep.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Tom Sandoval was on The Traitors and he was wildly entertaining. Still a huge piece of shit, but still a huge piece of shit.
His cameos are so awesome.
They're not.
Have you seen any of his cameos? What do you mean they're not? They are so good. You know what you're getting for your birthday, right?
Don't do that. Don't waste.
I know your wife's birthday's coming up soon too.
You're
Yeah,
one, that's very sweet that you know my wife's birthday, and two, don't actually send her one.
that was
Send
actually
her
kind of
one.
funny.
Send her
Yeah.
one. She definitely send that one. That'd be really fucking funny. But let's get into this episode. We start out, we're poolside the morning after the wild night after Imrul's threesome, and it cracked me up that the first move that Jesse makes is to bring up the orgy as a defense mechanism. It's like, oh, Imrul, let's talk about what you did last night with those two girls that you had sex with, right? Right, guys? We're going to talk about what Imrul did. And that's 100%. He's like trying to get ahead of it and make sure that Imrul's cool.
I don't really get it. I think, yeah, he was trying to get ahead of it. He's also trying to frame it as a huge joke,
Yep.
but you already let the cat out of the bag. So I don't really understand why it's such a thing. Like, yeah, West isn't going to tell anybody, but for him to sit there and be like, yeah, we're just going to paint this as a big joke right away. Imrul, orgy beast, going after it. How many girls did you hook up with last night? Oh, now you're going to be shy. Like, you could tell Jesse was being way more intrusive than usual, and he had a plan. There was a whole thing here. And the only thing I'll say about that is, and this goes to show you for later when he says, or this was actually in the after show, that stupid after show that shouldn't exist. He said in the after show, I was really hoping that Lexi never found out about that.
It's on
It's
TV,
fucking
bro.
filmed. You filmed a confessional about it. Like, how did you think this was going to work? Didn't you see your friend West get skewered for all the things that he did on camera last year with Ciara? Yeah. Why did you not think that that would apply to you? Why did you not think that you were going to get caught doing that? I understand if you were like blackout drunk, but the fact that is the wheels were moving this early in the morning the day after shows so much remorse. And the fact that he's already just spinning something to try to make it work so that Lexi doesn't find out shows you what his intentions are.
100%. He feels really, really guilty. And you get it the entire episode. You get the uneasy kickball game where he's like, you can tell he's not having a good time once he realizes that she's not vibing with him. This whole episode was him trying to convince himself that it was a joke because he feels awful for what he did. And he should. He put himself and Lexi in a really stupid situation. And that's kind of been the MO for this entire relationship, I guess, is what we'll call it. It's
If you're
just
going to frame it as a joke and act like it's some big thing to laugh about, you would have just told her. The fact that you were
right.
hiding it from her and trying to pin it on her is bad behavior, Jesse. Can't be doing that.
100%.
You can't be blaming her and saying, well, you know, I know how she is. She gets very jealous about this. She wouldn't get the joke. No, we all know what you're saying. Like, you're not that smart. Come on.
No, and by the way, there's no reason for you to try to spin it and make it seem like she's overly jealous because you made a stupid choice to go into that room that night. The whole thing with Jesse, and if he wants to play the card that he plays later in, you know, it's an adjustment for me, I'm not used to this. Okay, fine. But you're actively changing your behaviors when she's not around. You
Yeah.
don't want this. It's clear you don't want it. You want to want it. That's where he's at. He wants to be the guy that wants to be in this relationship, but his natural behaviors and actions tell a completely different story. But we'll talk more about that later. I don't want to get too far into it now.
Yeah. It's hard
do-
not to.
I know it really is. We get a quick check-in with Carl about how the meeting with Lil went, and you know it went great. They got a couple of selfies together. It looks like things are trending in the right direction. He's like, you know, just feel bad. I'm happy that he's happy. He's just like, it just feels really nice to be like wanted. Like she's like really into me, and like it's really nice. It's like I'm sure it is. It probably feels great.
I'm still at the point where I'm happy for him and I just want the best for him. But some of the things that he does, I'm like, oh, Carl, come on, buddy.
Sweet
Like,
Carl.
Fish out of water. Let's just figure this one out, buddy.
He's trying his best, but we do get a quick cut over to Craig and Paige. How do you feel? I know how you feel about Babe. I know how you feel about chicken. They're pretty much the same thing to you. How do you feel about chicken with chicken sound effects? Chicken? No, you didn't like that?
Oh, fuck. I hated it so much. I really, really hated it. And I felt like what Paige looked like right after that, because when she goes to her confessional and she's saying, like, I feel like Craig is being mean to me in the most southern way possible. And you could see it on her face. She's like, oh, God. And I know that, you know, the day before she just had this conversation where she's talking about how he's not supportive and he's kind of, you know, a bit of a pick me and he's just trying to root against me to try to get me into moving down to Charleston so that I don't get to chase my dreams. That's how she felt. That's how I felt listening to that chicken sound effect. Didn't like it. Didn't care for it at all. Please. I'm so happy it's gone.
Yeah, that was a tough chicken, but that's funny. But you can tell the vibes are off between these two. You can tell that things are starting
that's
to.
funny to your own thing.
That's funny. That's funny. Because I wasn't expecting it. I just said
Stuffed
it.
chicken.
Stuffed chicken. But anyway, like I said, the vibes are clearly off with these two. You're starting to really see this trend towards them breaking up. And when she explained it here, because obviously you can see why, but you can also see there's two sides to this story. He's pretty clear about what he wants. She's pretty clear about what she wants. And they're just on two different wavelengths entirely. But when she explains it here, it makes it make a lot more sense because one, the Craig's attacking me in a Southern way. That hit me right in the gut. I was like, I know exactly what that's like growing up in the South. It's this like, it's the bless your heart, like, oh, bless your heart. Like they say nice things, but they're being dicks. And that is what he's doing. He's trying to convince her when it goes back to that scene and they're having dinner. What he's saying to her is not so much how he's framing it, because he's framing it like, one day we got to do this, one day we should do that. What he's saying is, you need to do this, you need to do that, so that we can move forward. And if you don't, this is not going to work.
He's saying, like, don't let this thing get too far. And the thing is her dream, the thing that she wants to do the most in her life, the thing that she's been wishing to do for pretty much her entire existence, at least as long as she can remember. But don't let it get too far to the point that we can't get back to what really matters. And that's living in a house down in Charleston and raising kids. Because that's what I want.
Exactly.
But that's also what you want. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
That is 100% what he's doing. And when she says this line, he has no interest in talking about my career unless it involves our relationship. And flashback to every conversation that they've had in regards to the tour. What does it come back to? How is this going to affect us? How is this going to affect the relationship? It has never been, I'm so stoked that you leave in 2 weeks for your 60 city tour. You must be so excited. Are you nervous? Like, what's going on? We never see that scene. We just see the scene of, you're going away for a while and I need reassurances because I'm insecure about where we are at the moment. And that's what pushed her off. Like, you can tell that's what finally drove a separation between these two that they couldn't get over.
Yeah, and it finally got to the point, and I know, we took like 2 years off from even talking about their relationship. It took them breaking up for them to actually, and mostly Paige, to just be honest about what the hell is going on in their relationship. And finally, the wheels started turning. You can't really stop it. And it seems like pretty much every episode, you and I will watch this, get the gist of it, understand it, say, this is what Craig should be doing. And then the next episode, we'll get Paige in a confessional saying pretty much that verbatim. So it's pretty much breaking down to just that. And we're seeing it, and it looks like there's really only one side of the story. Obviously, after a breakup, we're not going to get the whole, let's turn around and just discuss all of this. We're just going to move on and ignore it. So it's going to be interesting to see, a couple of months from now, if they're not in relationships, maybe we'll get to revisit some of this stuff. Hopefully not. I think we just let it lie because I don't really feel like talking about it anymore. I was really happy that Craig just kind of left at the beginning of the episode, so we don't have to talk about it as much anymore, because I am getting a little lethargic.
I think that we've gotten the answers that we're going to get. At this point, it's going to be people just throwing stones, throwing shade at each other, and it's going to get messy. We understand what happened. And I don't think either of them are particularly at fault. I think that one party handled it better than the other party at the end. But this was two people that weren't meant to be together because they want different things. And we can leave it there. That's what I think. Very clear. But we learned about the soft bar event in New Jersey. Carl's bar has not opened yet in brick and mortar for him, so they bought a van bus thing that will go to events, so it's like a portable bar almost. And it's their first thing is like the friends and family to test some of the drinks. So it's nice to see him gassed up about something. And of course, the worries of the castmates later on in the episode are extremely valid. This is a difficult idea to pull off. As somebody in the sober community, I would love for this to work. I really want this to work. I think it's a good idea on paper. It's whether or not you can fill seats and sell drinks is going to be the big question mark. But
yeah. But you know what? I'm not even going to say whether or not it's a good idea, but good business idea. It could work out, and I actually hope it works out because that would be really cool, and it's a good niche. That makes a lot of sense. I'm also not going to take the words of people like West and Jesse, and Paige is really smart too, but she's not doing anything like this in this space. They don't know what the hell they're talking about,
That's also
so
true.
they can leave that at that. I'll take it for the sentiment, which is we'd rather see Carl pursue a passion, be happy about something, do something that he loves, and if it crashes and burns, he can at least say that he gave it a run. So
Yeah.
that's way better than what we've seen from Carl in the last couple of years while he was in that relationship. So I like that we get to see the cast just being sort of like that supportive mom that knows that their kid's an idiot. It's like, oh, it's sort of
Bless
like
your
it's
heart.
another bless your heart. Yeah, it's full circle. But watching him like try to do something, and he's never going to succeed at playing baseball or basketball or whatever it might be, but he's having fun out there. He's having a great time. He's not going to go pro, but you know what? Look at him go.
Look, he's so happy,
Yeah,
But I
that's
like
pretty
the
much what I
sentiment
got.
behind it as well. He wants to help people, and I love that. I love that he's giving back to the sober community. So I hope it goes well. And I don't think it's opened yet. I believe it opens sometime this summer, but I'm not
I think he
positive.
said some point this summer, or that's what he was trying anyway.
That's what they're aiming for. But
Yeah.
everyone's departing the house, and Paige makes, I think, 5 number one priority jokes. So you can tell that she's fed up with this whole shtick. And Jesse to Ciara, I could get used to this after hugging her at the car. And she's like, haha, don't. And he's like, well, it was really fun hanging this weekend. And he's just putting one more feeler out there, just kind of.
He
That's what
needs
that weekend was.
it's exactly what that weekend was. He was putting
Put feelers
feelers out
out.
there, and more than ever. And I hope that this is what we get, because I do think that deep down, Jesse Solomon is a very fun person to have on a show like this.
Sure.
He's going to
And
rub a lot of
probably
people the
great
wrong
dude
way.
to hang out. Like if you and I hung out with him,
Oh, yeah, we would
it's probably
love
a
him.
blast.
He'd be
I
the
wouldn't
man.
let my sister date him.
Absolutely not. Not a chance in hell. But watching it, it's like, yeah, they're there, but I know exactly what you need, and you need an absolute just fucking fist in the face of reality. Like, you can't do this. So he needs something that's just going to completely obliterate him to get back to normal. And that's kind of where we are right now. And look, you can point to a lot of different things. Last season was a little bit different. He had the cancer diagnosis. He was a little unsure about things. He's got a new lease on life. Now he's coming back in. He got to see West with Ciara last year. Maybe he was a little bit jealous. Maybe he's not really sure what he wants. Whatever it might be. The way he's handling relationships with females right now is terrible. And the only thing that's going to fix that is if he crashes and burns. So we'll have to see it.
No, he needs a come to Jesus moment. I don't think that this is it. I think he's going to get away with this one with like a slap on the wrist. I don't think this is his come to Jesus moment, but it's out there.
No,
It
probably
is
not.
out there. But right on the heels of that scene, you get Lexi and Jesse, and they're going on a little date. And knowing where he's coming from, like not only literally, but also seeing the guilt from that morning and how he feels about it. Watching him during the scene, I'm like, damn, he's doing a lot. He like shows up with the flowers, and he's saying all the right things. And it's borderline heartbreaking to hear her talk about her Nana, that she had to go back to Canada because Nana's not doing very well. And she hasn't told anybody, but Jesse's my person, and I trust him more than anyone. And I'm like, oh,
3 weeks
fuck.
into a relationship, kind of weird to say.
It's
but
a
yeah.
wild thing to say, but it doesn't matter.
I think it
because
does. I know this is what's going to happen. We're going to get lost in the sauce of Jesse being an asshole to Lexi. We're going to feel really bad for Lexi. Everybody's going to forget that they've only known each other for like 4 weeks. That's 1,000% going to happen probably by next episode. So I'm going to be here to remind everybody, you've only known each other for a couple of weeks. You shouldn't be putting that much faith in somebody that you just met.
You don't
But
know him.
you also don't deserve what Jesse's doing.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it starts to get a little stormy out there. Did you know that Lexi's great grandfather was struck by lightning twice?
No.
It's a great fact.
Yeah, great fact.
Great
Wonder if it
fact.
happened. Was it the same strike? Did it just come down, like hit him in 2 spots, and he's like twice?
Oh, I don't know. I imagined it was 2 separate occasions in which he was
I don't know.
struck.
I feel like once you get into like the great aspect of relatives, you can just kind of make things up.
I think that's the whole fun part of it.
Yeah. It's like a folklore.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Who's going to prove you wrong? They don't
My
fucking
great
know.
grandpappy.
Yeah, I had a pampaw and a mamaw.
God, I just love those so much. I always,
Yep.
every time you bring them up, it just brings me so much joy hearing those names.
Pampaw Verl was his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was the man. He drank buttermilk.
You know why I love it is because when I say it, it's like an automatic Southern draw.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
love it.
If you want to learn how to
Just makes you
speak,
feel good.
yep, Pampaw. He drank buttermilk with cracked pepper in it. He would crack pepper into buttermilk, and he was like, "Here, drink this. It'll put some hair on your chest." I spit it out, and he called me a bitch when I was 9.
Mm.
Good times. Anyway, back to the episode.
Did you ever get that hair on your chest?
I did. Yeah, I don't know if it's from that, but I did get hair on my chest eventually. But anyway, Lexi brings up last weekend, and Jesse's like, I'm just trying to remember what happened. I'm trying to think. I just, the
Digging
party.
deep.
Yeah, the party was cool, I think, but he goes to a confessional and he's like, I don't want to make a big deal out of nothing. It wasn't sexual. It was just a joke. And I wrote what you said earlier. Then tell her. If it's
Yep.
not a big deal, if it's just a joke, if it's so ho-hum, tell her. Why can you not tell her if you don't think it's a big deal? Why is your behavior and actions so awkward if it's not a big deal?
It makes sense. I know exactly why you're saying that. You're trying to get ahead of it, but by you not telling her, you're telling us everything. That you are pretty nervous about this, that you do feel like you betrayed her in some way, and you don't want to lose what you have with Lexi because you haven't had sex with her yet. I'm feeling in the last part myself, but I'm sorry. The things that you've done so far, it was such a hot button issue, like on Watch What Happens Live, all the people online talking about it. Did he get into a committed relationship just to have sex with Lexi? It's a tough fucking conversation to have, but all signs point to yes. Like, obviously.
But the crazy thing, dude, the parallels that you can draw from this to Ciara and West from last season, it's literally the same exact scenario. It's a little bit different in some aspects, but overall, it's the same goddamn thing. Like, the only difference is that Lexi moves faster as far as getting into the relationship than Ciara did. Ciara was trying to make sure of things a little bit longer. Lexi is a romantic and wants to give it a shot to see if it's going to work out. But the details are the same. So it's so dumb that he's going to come into like do the same shit. Like, you just watched your boy, who is still dealing with the fallout, go through the same thing, and you are doing all of the same behaviors. It's wild.
That's what douchebags do more than anybody else, is they look at something like that. And even though Jesse and West are friends, he looks at West and goes, "Oh, I could do the same thing, and that's not going to happen to me. I would never let that happen to me because I'm too good for that." You could be in the exact same situation. You're going to get your ass handed to you and do the exact same thing. But they always think that they're going to be able to get away. I highlighted the one comment from Stella that just said, "Also so fucking weird watching your friend have a threesome. Red flag, red flag." We don't kink shame on this program.
We don't kink shame.
Just throwing that out there.
Is it a little bit strange to most of us? Sure. But to each their own. That's the bros code. but the fact that he follows up that confessional, and I know it's not like in real time, but the fact that we get not a big deal, him bugging out with Imrul at the pool, and now his next line is, "Every night not together is a shitty one. And I've been exclusive with you, but I want to make it official. I want to be exclusive with you." I don't know if, and I'm unfortunately a little confident about this. I think that this was almost a move, the timing of it. I'm not saying it wouldn't have gotten to exclusivity at some point, but this timing makes it seem like this. But this seems like it was a get out of jail free card. Or he thought it was like, we're going to be exclusive. Hey, we weren't exclusive when I got my toe sucked when I flirted with Ciara, but now we're for real now. Wow.
No, it's okay. I'll speak for you. No, that is actually a really good point. But I mean, again, it's sort of the same thing that I said earlier. Everything, yes, Lexi's being incredibly transparent with all of these things, but the fact that he had 1 month to figure this out is, and I might get shit for this, it's a little manipulative to put a timeline on. You have to be exclusive with me within a month. You can't really do that.
This isn't a month.
No, I know, but it's within the month. That's when he went out to dinner with.
I think it's fair for her to put a timeline. Okay, I'll shut up.
On when they can become exclusive. Like, if you're not exclusive with me within 1 month, then I'm going to be done with this. I feel like you can have that. I feel like a timer in your own head. Like, all right, yeah, if a month has gone by and he's still not exclusive with me, something's going on here. There's a red flag, or this isn't worth my time. But telling somebody that, like, hey, like, that's when you get there's a line here where it's like, yeah, transparency is awesome. Tell everybody what you want. But when you go over that line, it's a little manipulative because then you're forcing him to rush into things. He's in this position because of his own doing. I'm not going to argue that. But at that point, you're just accelerating even more and forcing him to accelerate with you, which not great.
Okay. I see what you're saying now, actually. And I can see that. But Lexi is enamored with this man, and she's like, if it's meant to be, we'll figure it out. And this made me realize how old I am when we're quoting musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make me look stupid. Like Sabrina Carpenter says, no shade to Sabrina Carpenter. But now we're quoting like people younger than us, and that makes me feel old. Like I'm used to like quoting, some of the greats, like rock greats, rap greats, maybe quote Biggie or Tupac. Like the great Sabrina Carpenter says, I'm like, fuck, I'm old. I'm old now.
Like Ramstein says, du hast. Am I right?
Yeah, du hast. Damn right. But let's get to the soft bar event. And it's like the concept and brand announcement. And this is where Carl's like, the whole goal is to help people. This is an important space to me. And here's my chance to give back. And also, this is something I want to pursue. So, again, good for him. Lil arrives, made her own outfit. Looks great. Love to see it. We're going to have a whole conversation about Lil at the end of this.
Could tell she made her own outfit, but yeah.
Hey.
Look like a tablecloth.
Look, could it use some tweaks?
I've seen that before. Yeah. No, you know what? That's what it was. So if you go down the shore, and you're going to see this shit all the time. You go down the shore, those fucking cabanas that everybody has, which, by the way, Wildwood outlawed those. No more cabanas on the beach because those shits fly everywhere when it gets windy.
They take people out, too.
They get crazy.
I've seen some really good takedowns.
It is so bad. It is so bad, but I laugh every time it happens. Mm-hmm. Either way, that's the print that we get. So she must have just gotten a hold of one of those. Zip, 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 zip. Put a little safety pins on it. Boom. Ready to go. But I like her quirkiness for Carl.
It makes sense. It makes
a ton of sense. Yes.
Yes. I agree with you 100%. But this is where he says his line, she's into me and I'm super into that. And I'm like, hell yeah, brother. But I like that the drinks have mushroom benefits in them because there are some things you can do with those. I've had some, not like shroom drinks. I've had like stuff with lion's mane and ashwagandha and whatnot. Ashwagandha is not a mushroom, but look, the point is I like this kind of stuff. So I'm into it.
I always thought ashwagandha was a mushroom. It's not.
No, it's not a mushroom. Yeah, I forget what it is exactly, but it's not a mushroom because I thought it was too for a while. But
is it a root?
Ashwagandha might be a root. It might be a root. Yep, you might be right there. But we'll talk about that on Health Bros. But we get a little Sharon shout out, and I've seen some people in the comments over here, our members talking about Sharon. I would like to scroll up there, but Sharon is just happy to see Carl thriving, happy to see him pursuing something. It's been a shit year, I think she doesn't say shit, but it's been a shitty year. And she was mean to me too. And I was like, ooh, Sharon throwing some shade out there. Hell yeah. I love that. And West asks her, like, are you able to move on from it? Can you forgive her? She's like, nah, not really. Yeah, no. And Carl, he's just going to take the high road. That bitch.
Like that's the vibe that I got from her too. Like saying it under her breath, like he's just always taking the fucking high road every single time. I tell him to get on the low road. There's more room down here for people. Just get down there and just go take some stabs.
Yeah,
I love, and this is me making fun of West, that West immediately says, yeah, that's what, trying to take the high road. That's what I'm trying to do too.
Yeah, no.
Are you? You did a fucking hit piece on her on Ciara
in the New York Times.
and did like 16 podcasts, including ours, talking about Ciara in the off season. Not great.
Love you.
Yeah.
But
like, you're not taking the fucking high road.
No, you're not at all. But you are now a year later, like once the fallout happened, dude. But, keep going. We get Bailee back. For one reason and
boy, was I surprised.
Reason only. I know. But I feel like producers called her and they're like, hey, we just need someone to throw under the bus and you don't matter anymore. Yeah. You're going to drop this news and then you're not coming back again.
You're the only person that could get this information and relay it back to Lexi and Lexi would trust it. Yeah. And we really need Lexi to find out about this. So we're going to plug you over here. How about that? Yeah. How do you feel about going to New Jersey? All right, let's go.
Yeah, do you want to go to a softball
get on the fucking bus.
In Jersey? Get on the.
Could you imagine being on that fucking coach bus over to New Jersey from? I think they started in Brooklyn or he started
No
Seaport.
thanks.
Yeah, no,
No
missed me with
thanks.
that. Sorry,
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm going to Italy with Kyle and Amanda.
You are? Nice, dude. Good for you.
Thanks. Yeah,
You're welcome. But
just to avoid New Jersey.
but anyway, the whole crew arrives and, you know, they're all stoked for Carl. Again, we already went through their trepidations about this business plan, but they're just happy that he's doing it. I didn't think it was fair to compare this venture to DJ Kyle. Like, that's not the same thing. Do you think it is?
No, it's not. But like, I liked
It
the
was
comment.
funny.
I thought it was
It was
very
funny.
funny.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it landed. It did land.
yeah.
I was like, ah, that's a little bit
The
different.
whole thing about it though is, I'm sure you've seen it, that he's crowdfunding for the extra money, which
I didn't see that.
definitely fucking sucks. Oh, you didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
So he said in this episode that he put in 100K of his own money.
Mhm.
He has a partner, so you have to imagine that the partner is somewhere up there as well. Oh, by the way, this is just a little sidebar. Did you see Jason there? Remember him?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. Last time we saw him, he was dating
Carl's friends at
Garcelle.
this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, dating
Carl's friend.
Garcelle. He was
We
hooking up with
also,
Lindsay. There's all this shit going on.
Jasmine and
Or not
Silas were
Garcelle.
there.
Not Garcelle.
Giselle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got Jasmine and Silas are still together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
From Summer House Martha's Vineyard that not enough of you watched. It was a great show and now it's gone. That sucks. But Silas sucks too.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Not let's blame them. But
yeah, sure.
The whole thing with the crowdfunding, he's trying to raise the extra $1.2 million to do it. Or he was anyway, at least in the last couple of weeks. So I don't think, I mean, they have the lease according to Watch What Happens Live or whatever he did it on. They have the lease, they have a location, but they still need a lot more money. People are like, you've been on reality TV for so long. How do you not have the money? Well, that's not really how that works. I mean, he's been on reality TV for like 10 years.
Lives in a $20,000 a month apartment.
And he was even paying for that apartment when he didn't live there. So, yeah. I don't know.
So
Plus, he had to buy that bed that Lindsay conceived her baby on. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had to hear about that again.
Yeah.
But anyway, we get Jesse, Paige, and Gabby, and they're talking about Lexi, and he's completely trying to act like nothing happened last weekend. Again, the body language tells everything you need to know. He knows that he fucked up, and he knows that she's going to be pissed, and he's trying to act like nothing happened, everything's cool. So the first thing he says is like, you know, we're official, it's exclusive. And they're like, well, do you want that? I believed him here. Kind of. Yeah, I do. I think I'm ready for it. And that goes back to what I said earlier. He wants to be this guy. He's not this guy. He's not there yet. He wants very badly to be it. What he's not getting, and what's so important about this, it's not fair to Lexi for you to test out whether or not you're ready to be a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because she's ready for something serious. She's made it very, very extraordinarily clear to you since almost day one. So to do this, to test the waters of whether or not you're ready to date, is extremely unfair to her. And he's not seeing that side of it. He's thinking about himself here, just like he was last weekend. And it's not fair to her.
It's just tough to even say something like that where you're talking about like, I think I'm ready for something like this. I think this is what I want. She's not the girl to do it with based off of what she's been telling you.
Yep.
You should have immediately thought to yourself, if you're able to articulate that now, saying, you know what, I think this is what I want. I think I'm ready to be a good boyfriend. You should be able to identify, okay, but she's ready for something immediately serious, which, you know, is fine, whatever. If she wants somebody and they're going to be able to match her energy, that's not you, bro. It's just not. You want somebody to take it slow with. Maybe you're exclusive after like 2-3 months. Maybe you start to figure it out. Maybe then you're boyfriend and girlfriend. Maybe then you start talking about something down the road if you're comfortable. But if you're still trying to figure this out, that's not the girl to do it with.
No, because she told you what she's looking for. She's very clear about it. You're still in the, I think I'm ready for this. So that means you're not ready for this.
Yeah.
Especially when you follow it up with, no guy is going to be like, I'm ready to hook up with one person. That's what it is, dude. That's when you find your person. You don't want to hook up with other people. That's literally what it is, you dumbass. So don't do this. All that's going to happen is exactly what happened to West. But this time it's going to be you. And he doesn't understand that. And it's really frustrating. But they asked the question that we're all thinking, since there was that timeline of once we're exclusive, we can have sex. Do you want to date so you can boink? And he's like, like, did you already? He's like, I don't kiss and tell.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
So,
like 30 seconds later. Yeah.
yeah, fine.
So you do kiss and tell.
Yeah, you just did. So you're a liar again.